Hey guys, EBPMAN here. Now in today's video, we'll be taking a look at this really cool looking e-bike that is more reminiscent of a 1920s, 1930, I would say, motorcycle. Really striking look, and just love the overall appearance of this bike. Well, the BR100 is more than just looks, because it also is packed with power. We're talking about a 1,200 watt motor, 5-speed pedal assist, and up to a 50-mile range, varying the conditions, right? It's going to be based on your weight, speed, and then incline, all those things. And then it also has a really good speed. Now, I've been able to get to 27 miles per hour, maybe even hitting up to 29, pushing it. And I weigh 180 pounds. So, pretty impressive when it comes to the speed. It also has a weight capacity, carrying capacity of 330 pounds, which is also really good for a bike this size. I would say 5'5" to 6'2" is what you can expect from a rider size, right? So it has a good variety. But I will warn you that even at my height, I found it difficult pedaling. This is not one of those kind of bikes that you want to be pedaling all the time. This is a riding bike. It has hydraulic brakes and has a dual suspension system. Hydraulic system in the front, and in the back has adjustable shocks, which gives this a really nice ride. It is the type of bike that has also an LED system, both headlight that looks like a motorcycle, rear LED that has turning signals as well, an IP65 rating, and then it also weighs 82 pounds. Now, the tires themselves are fat, all-terrain tires, 20-inch by 4, and they're going to be able to drive on snow, sand, all terrain if you're thinking about gravel, dirt, as well as just, in the city as well. But this thing looks really cool, and it also then it comes with a built-in satchel, right? So you can see it in the middle area here, where that satchel, the brown satchel, also includes free, without any additional charge, an actual phone mount, so that you can mount your phone on the bike. The battery itself is removable with a key. And this is just a striking looking bike. I've been riding it, and everybody just looks at it and I hear, wow, cool. That looks nice. And I'll get folks that will come up to me and says, what is that? Because they don't really recognize it as a bike, even though it has pedals. So let's take a closer look at this bike. Let's take a look at our ride experience, right? Where we'll go over some of the experience. And who knows, maybe this is your next e-bike that looks like a motorcycle, that's an e-bike, but it still looks like a motorcycle. Let's go and check it out. Now we'll start our review by focusing on the tires for the BR100, and what you're looking at is a 20-inch tire, 4-inch wide, with great traction that's going to be able to work in a variety of terrains. If you're thinking about snow, you'll have fine traction there, dirt or gravel terrain, and then obviously city commuting, even sand, because of how thick these tires are. And you can see that the treads right there are going to give you some real nice grip. Now the powertrain is a 1200 watt motor, and that motor, brushless motor, is going to give you some decent range. We're talking about 35 to 50 feet, depending on, again, the weather conditions, incline, and obviously your body weight. Now, for those of you who are curious about, just overall, what type of rider can this bike support? So you're looking at all the way up to 6 feet 2 inches. Now, the pedaling side of this is where it's going to become challenging. And you're going to see this when you see the riding experience, because really this bike is designed for like riding it pure electric. And this is another thing that I'll highlight. If you notice in the really back, there's no gear shifting system. So this is in a 1 through 7 speed. It does have 5 pedal assist modes, but it's really 1 gear. Now, having ridden this bike and taking it out several times now, I'll tell you that the gear system is very comfortable to use and ride, but it's a single gear. Now on the bike, one of the standout features that you'll find is that it has a dual shock system in the back that is fully adjustable. So you're going to be able to adjust that to get the best ride you'd like. And the front has a hydraulic fork, which you'll see shortly. The saddle for this bike is not a traditional bike saddle. As you can see right here, it's more like a motorcycle saddle. It reminds me of, let's say, like a 1920s motorcycle. Really striking. Everybody who sees this on the road goes, wow, that's a very good looking bike. It does have in the back an LED that also supports turning signals left and right, and the battery actually is in this large tube, and it's removable. That's where you see the key system over there. As soon as you take it out or you turn it, you can actually pull it out like if it was a tube. Now, you'll notice that it does come with a satchel, and that satchel, love the look, gives it its retro look. It also comes with a included
phone mount, right? So there's a phone mount in that little satchel, great for carrying some soda or some day accessories. But once again, I just like the aesthetics of how this looks right here. Now the front of the bike does have that front fork. It's not an adjustable fork, right? But it is a hydraulic fork, and it has a good ride to it. I can tell you, having ridden it, I don't get kind of like my wrist starting to ache because it bounces too much. It's well adjusted, and it's going to give you a comfortable ride. The other thing that you'll notice that's really striking is the headlamp. The headlamp is large. It's motorcycle large, and it's also super bright. Now here's another view of the treads. You'll be able to see this even better. So you can see the type of treading that we have. You do have front and rear metal fenders, which is going to really keep you clean when riding. And then you can see that grille that's right in the front of the headlamp, giving you that really striking motorcycle look. Now the headlamp, as I mentioned, is bright, and you can see it on now. Just the overall look, the aesthetics is pretty sharp, and then also the brightness is really good. I ride this during the day with the light on just because it looks so good. Now the bike does have some real nice cable management. You'll see it coming through the side here, and then it tucks away. It has also dual hydraulic disc brakes, which are very responsive and are just going to stop when you need them to. Now on the back of the bike, you'll notice that we have that bright LED. It does have that turning signal feature, which we'll turn on so you can see how that's working right there. See how it's lit up? Really like the way it does that. And you can see on this side as well how it turns on. So this is going to allow folks that are following you to know if you're turning left or right. The keys are not necessary unless you're going to remove the battery. Now the handlebar is resting lower, and a couple things that you'll find is that it does have nice palm rests here. It has your turning signal that you can have left or right. One of the things I did notice is that there's nothing on the display here that indicates that it is turning left or right. So you just know because of obviously you flipping the switch. This is your control for your headlight, which you can also control in the software or in the interface. You do have a horn, which is very loud, so that's nice as well. And this display, you just have to make sure that you have it in the right angle. When I was riding it, I found that I couldn't see it. By shifting it further up, I was getting the right angle and I was able to look down. But you have to adjust it once you start riding it. It's going to be based on your height and also how you lean on the bike. That's going to help you understand what's the right angle in order to be able to see the display in daylight. Now the brake system, as you can see here, hydraulic, very responsive. I like the way they're placed. You can twist this, just shift this handlebar a little bit up or down. It does have in the front here a little plus symbol that indicates where you should place it right in the center. But if you want to make any kind of adjustments, you can loosen really easily the screws that are right here and turn this up or down. Now coming back to the front here, I just wanted to highlight again cable management. Everything is nicely tucked in. You can see that little symbol is where, as you're putting the handlebar on, so that you can align it in the center so that you get the right, I would say, angle of the handlebar. But besides that, that's the kind of look that you get in front. Very, very futuristic, very industrial, but also very retro too. Now the last thing I'll highlight about the braking system is that the braking system is very quiet. I didn't find any issues whatsoever when it came to braking, any kind of noise or any kind of rubbing as I was riding. It also has some really nice red accents that you find in the front and the back with the reflectors. Now the display is going to tell you a lot of information about your trip, odometer, trip, speed, and miles or kilometers, as well as your battery level. I have not charged this battery since running it, and we ran about, at least the last trip was about 5 miles, and it was still maintaining 100%.
Hey guys, EBPMAN here, and today we're taking a look at the TOMOFREE BR100. And at first look, when you take a look at this, it looks like more of a motorcycle than it does a bike, doesn't it? So I'm pedaling, so you can see that the pedal does work. But this is really going to be one of those bikes that is more about riding electric than it is about pedaling. So this is going to suit riders, I believe, up to 6'2", and has a really generous total cargo capacity weight of well over 300 pounds. Which is quite impressive. When you look at this bike, I'd say in my opinion, it almost looks like a motorcycle, one of those older motorcycles. So if you think about something that is in the 1920s, that's what this really brings to mind. So let's talk about the specs. 20 by 4 inch tires, right? Has a great suspension system. You're talking about having both front and back suspension. So it has hydraulic fork, and then it has 2 shocks here in the back that are adjustable that give you a really, really nice ride.
That combined with those tires that I mentioned, the 20x4, just gives you a very comfortable, like I said, ride because the bumps are really not there. Now for those of you who are curious about the pedaling, let's go ahead and pedal so you can see what the pedaling looks like. So you can pedal with this bike. Now this does not have a 7-speed, 8-speed, any kind of speed type gear system. It is pretty much pedal assist 1 through 5, and it has 1 gear. So you can see me pedaling here, and I can pedal. The speed on this bike, they claim to be 28, maybe even 30 miles, depending on the incline, depending on the weight, depending on, again, several factors. But it does have a 1200 watt motor, and it kicks. When you floor this thing, you feel it, especially if you're in the higher gear, electric gear, that is, the pedal assist mode. Because in pedal assist mode, like right now, I'm not pedaling, right? I'm just hitting the throttle. So I'm going to go ahead and increase the power on this. I'm going to go ahead and move up. The one thing I will mention is that the display is not as easy to read in daylight. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here for a second so I can see what I have. So right now that's in pedal assist 5. And yeah, it doesn't seem to be super easy to read unless I put it in an angle like that. So you can see it right there with some of the shadow. You can actually see it. So not as bright as some of the other ones. It does have what I like, turning signals. So it has a bright LED in the back. It has turning signals, and it has a motorcycle-like front LED, which is massive in size. Now, these tires that we mentioned are all-terrain tires. They have great grip. They also then, again, are going to be well suited for snow, mud, sand, right? And you can see the riding position. This is very motorcycle-like. So I'm 5'6", and I have my leg fully extended. And you can see that I could probably go a little bit higher. It doesn't feel as I would say super comfortable where my leg extends and I can't adjust the saddle. Just FYI, if you're considering something like this, right? So again, you're not able to adjust it, but the power to pedal assistance is very nice. So you can see me pedaling, and this thing kicks in really fast. So you can really feel that jolt of power coming through, which is really nice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look and see how fast we could get to top speed. What can we get to acceleration? I'm not going to be able to call the speed because it's kind of hard to read the display. So what we're going to be doing is just seeing when we get topped out at full throttle in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and floor it now. And it's speeding up. And I'll tell you when I don't feel any more speed coming into it. So this feels good. We'll have to see what this is registering as a top speed, but it feels very, very, very nice. Yeah, very nice. Now, it does have dual hydraulic brakes, front and back, which are very responsive. You see me stopping right here, right now. Now, in addition to the front and back LED, it does have turning signals so that you can flip the switch and go left and right. It has an electric horn, which is nice. And again, here on the sides and the handles, you do have some nice grip. You basically have some wrist supports right here, which are really nice, so that your palm gets nicely supported. And then also the cable management on this is really nice. You have a turn type throttle here on the side, and again, everything is just really responsive on this bike. I'm just so surprised. Again, you really have to be looking at something like this that it's just meant to ride. This is the most comfortable way to ride this bike. 20, actually 30 to 50 miles. They claim a little bit more if you're doing pedal assist, but you're going to be riding it like this. Let's face it, that's right. Now let's talk about also the construction of the bike. It does have an aluminum frame, has aluminum fenders, both front and back, which is going to keep you mud-free. And then it does have some reflectors you can see on the actual rims themselves. We're going to hit top speed again, and there's a speed cam coming up that we'll be able to see what the true speed, or at least what the speed cam is picking up. But once again, this is what you'd be riding this scooter as, or this bike as. And I'm telling you, she's a looker. People do look when they see you pass by. They don't know bike, motorcycles, moped, what is that?
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do our speed test here, and we're gonna be full throttle. We're gonna get into the pole position so we can make sure that we're as aerodynamic as we can be. And we'll see what we clock at in a couple of seconds, as this is coming up pretty shortly. I am pretty much full throttle at this point. I don't feel any more speed being given. We're gonna see what the clock says. 27 is what's on the clock. 27, that's impressive, even with my weight. 27 miles an hour. Now, I always like taking our bikes through this terrain just to test out the suspension. It's not a gravel path, but it is pretty bumpy. So this is going to give me a sense of how well the suspension is going to work. So far, the bike is very quiet. It has bike noises, right? It does. You do have the ability to pedal back if you'd like, and but besides that, you hear the whirl of the motor when you kick it in, and nothing else. Very nice. Now, the one thing I'll mention is that, well, you have good suspension on this. Since it's a straight saddle, you do feel a little of the bumps. Everybody sees them, they go like, whoa, whoa. That's it, right. It's a whoa indeed. It's a whoa bike.
So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.